Waycross presents an election forum for Issue 14, a proposed tax levy for Colerain Township, which reads as follows. An additional tax for the benefit of Township of Colerain for the purpose of operating and maintaining a police department that the county auditor estimates will collect $6,313,000 annually at a rate not exceeding 4.65 mils for each $1 of taxable value, which amounts to $163 for each $100,000 of the county auditor's appraised value, for a continuing period of time commencing in 2023, first due in calendar year 2024.
Welcome to yet another Waycross Election Forum. This forum is for the Colerain Township Police Levy. I'm Kurt Radel, Government Programming Coordinator for Waycross Community Media. We will shortly start with a 2-minute opening statement. Before we do, if you are watching us live here on October 4th, you will be able to email your questions to Chief Cordy right here. If you're watching the program live, the email address will be showing up on the bottom of the screen, but the email address is live@waycross.org. That is live@waycross.org. We have a couple rules for this. You must be a Colerain Township resident to ask a question by email. When you send your email, please include your name and street address. We will only use your first name and street. With that, we begin with Chief Ed Cordy. We welcome you, and you have a 2-minute opening statement, Chief.
All right, thank you, Kurt. I appreciate the time tonight, and I appreciate Waycross giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the police department in this important topic. In the form of an opening statement, I first want to talk a little bit about Colerain Township Police Department as a whole. We have 69 police officers. In 2022, we responded to 45,835 calls for service, which is an average of 125 calls for service per day. The programs we offer are the QRT program, Driving Angels, the CARE program, and community programs throughout. We are an internationally accredited agency through CLIA, which stands for the Commission of Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. We've been accredited since 2005, and in 2021 we received our 6th Gold Edition accreditation award and expect to have our 7th in 2021, and in 2025 we'll have our 7th. Through responsible spending, planning, and outside revenue sources, such as grants, forfeitures, and donations, we stretched our previous levy from 2014, which was slated to be a 5-year levy, to a 9-year levy. This levy is an operational levy, meaning we need this to be able to maintain our current officer count, and which will allow us to focus on the community-driven initiatives such as proactive policing, traffic enforcement, code enforcement, and while maintaining our response to active crimes that are in progress.
Chief, why does the township need a police levy?
Good question, thank you. Kurt, frankly, levies are considered and compared to like a bow tie. The first year of the levy, the revenues are set. They're a little bit higher than the expenses, and they are set in place. They will not exceed that amount, and they will not go above that, meaning that they're static. They will stay there, but as we both know, through inflation and the cost of goods and rising of services and employee costs, expenses most certainly do go up. So in the form of a bow tie, expenses most certainly over time will exceed that of a revenue. So in 2024, our expenses are projected to generate a $4.5 million shortfall when compared. And again, as previously stated, our 2014 levy that was passed was slated for 5 years. We've extended it through proper spending and financial planning to make a 9-year levy. But we're at that point that we need some more help again.
If the levy should pass, what is the levy? Is it designed to add officers, add equipment, or maintain where you are now?
It's an operational levy that's made to maintain. It's for us to be able to maintain our 69 officers. We're not looking to add officers at this time. It is just to be able to maintain everything that we're able to provide to the community and the services while answering the calls for service.
What other sources of funding are available to the police?
If we look at the funding sources for the police department outside of grants and outside of forfeitures, we do have a partnership with Northwest Local School District, and part of that part of that, we have a contract with the school district that allows us to have 11 employees fully covered by the school district. Do you mind if I elaborate on that a little bit?
Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. So the agreement that we have with the school district is, again, for 11 employees, 6 of which are police officers. One of those is a sergeant. Then we have 5 school resource officers. So we have 6 dedicated police officers. Sergeant, then we have a investigator that handles truancy, that handles runaways and any sort of criminal activity that happens within the school district. And then we have 4 dedicated school resource officers. That is 2 dedicated school resource officers at Colerain High School and 2 at Northwest High School. The remaining 5 employees that are part of this program are school safety officers, which are retired police officers that are in a civilian format within each one of the schools that they're assigned. One is dedicated to Colerain Middle School. One is dedicated to Pleasant Run Middle School. One is dedicated to White Oak Middle School. Another is stationed at Transition Academy at the administrative office. And the final is a roving position that will actually go between elementary schools that do not have anybody on campus, which is Montford Heights, Struble, and Taylor Elementaries. Outside of that funding source, we have different forms of reimbursement that we can receive when we work in partnership with the DEA or the U.S. Marshals.
You mentioned about the school resource officers. What are their primary duties?
Well, just like as always, the primary responsibility is to stop an active threat. They're there to assist the school district and be able to provide aid to them as well. While most things that happen within the school district are administrative in nature, we are absolutely there to stop any criminal activity and to stop any sort of threat whatsoever.
Are there any cuts that can be made if the levy does not pass?
So if the levy does not move forward and we're not able to do it, there's unfortunately going to be some hard decisions that we're going to have to do. Obviously, we're going to have to look at reductions in service, modifications to our response models, unfortunately reductions in personnel, which can obviously lead to an overall lack of safety, not only for our community, but for our officers as well. Areas that could be impacted is going to be our proactive policing and our impact team, our criminal investigations, our traffic safety unit, our training unit, and our community outreach as well. Fairly wide scoping.
You mentioned the bow tie effect. What has caused the financial deficit? Is inflation the primary cause of it?
Well, if I may, let me grab an article here that I brought with me. We have we looked at the cost in 2015 versus the cost in 2023 for various items. A police car in 2015 cost $25,000. A brand new car that we just are going to have outfitted this year is going to cost $68,000. So it's not just the market, but the actual industry is changing as well. We're not able to get sedans, which are typically cheaper. We're being forced into different models and vehicles that cost much more money, and just the market in general is higher. It's not just that. Ballistic vests, $815 10 years ago, $3,200 this year. Radios, $4,200 10 years ago, $5,300 now. I mean, the costs are just absolutely astronomical, and we're having to pay for all this. It's needed items that we must have.
What will we see if the levy, if the levy does pass, when will it take effect?
So the first starting of the funds will start to roll in early 2024 when we have when we receive our property tax allotment in 2024. There will be no change of service. Everything will continue as we are, and we'll be in a good place.
And on issue 14, how long will this levy be good for?
So as most levies, they are projected for a 5-year period. I would love to tell you that we would be able to stretch it out for 9 years again. I will tell you that it'll be no less than 5 years. The goal would be to pass, to stretch it as far as we can, but with the rates and the costs and the influx that we just talked about, I don't know if we can go too much further than 5 years.
If the levy does not pass, when would we see it again on the ballot?
No later than May. We absolutely, this is something that we need to be able to get by with a $4.5 million shortfall for next year. This isn't something that we're going to be able to just change some slight bit of accounting to be able to fix. This is something that's absolutely necessary and needed.
When you mentioned 69 officers, how large is the entire force, support staff and so on?
So our police officer count is 69, and if we look at our civilian staff, which includes some code enforcement officers and things like that, we have 87 full employees. If I may elaborate on that a little bit, the Department of Justice recommends that an agency the size that we are has 1.8 officers per 1,000 residents. The last census numbers for Colerain Township is 59,120. By those standards, the Department of Justice should recommend that we would have 1.8 times 59,000 is 106 officers. 106 officers. University of Cincinnati did a staffing study for our police department in 2021, and they had 2 recommendations to us, and those numbers ranged between 83 and 104 officers. So by both standards, we are drastically under where we need to be. We have most certainly increased those numbers as well. In 2014, we had 48 officers. So we're definitely going in the direction that we need to, but by all standards that we could have for comparison, we are still understaffed.
Even though this levy would not increase the number of officers, getting police, those interested in becoming police officers, is becoming a real serious situation across the country. Would you not agree on that?
No, I mean, there's no way better to point it out and compare it to a bucket analogy. The hole in the bottom of the bucket is getting bigger, and the water that's filling the bucket is dwindling as well. There's less applications coming in. There's more officers leaving through attrition, through retirement, that are leaving the force as well. Ultimately, we have departments that are now hiring their neighboring agencies' officers. It's the lateral hiring is now the new wave, and application pool is unfortunately drying up.
Chief, it's now time for your 2-minute closing statement.
Well, that went pretty quick, didn't it?
Yes.
All right. So as previously stated, we're an internationally accredited police agency through the Commission of Law Enforcement Agencies since 2005 with a track record of prudent spending and financial planning. We're an innovative agency that's helped create programs such as the Driving Angels, the CARE program, the QRT program, and many more. We are a community-focused organization that understands the importance of community outreach and community policing. Our department has been created and molded by the interactions of our community. This levy is one that is based out of need. We are a levy-funded organization. We need community support to exist. We are faced with an operational shortfall and ultimately need some help, need some support.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for joining us as well. If you need more information before you vote in the upcoming election, you can watch all of our election forum programs online at waycross.tv. You can also go to the Hamilton County Board of Elections website to make sure you are registered. Look at the sample ballot and find out where your voting location is. Register to vote by October 10th and vote on November 7th. I'm Kurt Radel, Waycross Government Programming Coordinator. We'll see you at the polls on November 7th.
Waycross takes no position on candidates or issues. We conduct these forums so that our viewers may be better informed voters for the November 7 election.